In this program, we're going to introduce vectors. Now, the benefit to using a vector instead of an array, and the two are very similar, is that a vector can change in size during program execution. So when you declare an array to be of size 10, that's it for the whole program. But with vectors, they actually can change in size. So this is the example that we've seen previously. But this time we're going to use a vector instead of an array. So first you have to include the vector library that's needed when you declare vectors. So before I had two arrays, hours and pay rate, and now I'm going to have two vectors. So here's the syntax. It starts with vector, right, which is the actual data type that's coming from the vector library. In these, less than, greater than sign, you put the data type, which is int, hours, which is the name, and in parentheses you actually put the size of the vector. So this is the initial size of 5. If we wanted to do this as an array, it would look like this: int hours, num employees. And we've seen this example previously where it was an array. So now it's a vector. And the same thing here. Here's a vector that has doubles in it called pay rate, and it's made up of 5 elements as well. So the code here is really the same as it was before. Once a vector has been declared, the way you access the elements is the same way that you access array elements with a subscript. And so we've actually run this before, and it's going to do the same exact thing. I'm just going to put some data in here. Okay. The only difference really, now there's a couple ways to declare vectors, so this is just an initial example, is setting an initial size, but if you want to, later on in the program, you can actually resize the vectors. So you'll see right here, resize, and instead of 5 elements, I could put 15 elements in there. And same thing for pay rate. And then, I have access. We only went through indexes 0 to 5, so I could put something now in hours sub 10, for instance, if I wanted to. 40 hours, and pay rate sub 10, I can put, 1550. So now the array becomes bigger, and not only can I put 15 in here, but I could ask the user for this size. I could say, how many elements do you want in your vector? Maybe that's not a great, how many employees, that'd be better, okay? And number employees, something like that. I can read that in. And then I can actually use a variable here, and that's something that you cannot do when you're working with arrays, because that has to be a constant, okay? So I can resize it, and as the program executes, and I can run it as well. Okay, it'll run. You can believe me. All right. So that's just an introduction to vectors.